All right, Friday, another Friday.
I like Friday.
Yeah. You are in your home office, I'm at the office.
Yes.
And that is really the reality is it's probably just because you happen to be at home and I'm at the office. But we did institute coming back to the coming back to work in team shifts this
Yeah.
week.
Yes.
It's been good to kind of it's been a good way. So we have team one and we have team two, and half the staff is in team one, half the staff is in team two. We come in every other day.
Yep.
Um, we've got one of those fancy digital thermometers. Everybody goes by the front desk and gets their temperature taken. So, we are back in the office in this kind of way that still provides safety, but it's good to have everybody back in the office.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a team one day, I think. So I thought I would stay home.
Yeah.
And then we have a Jenga challenge, I think, between team one and team two.
Yeah.
So
So each day the team pulls a piece out of the giant Jenga puzzle, and
has it toppled over yet? Did it
no,
topple over today? Oh
no,
shoot.
we would be pretty bad if it did already.
Day three.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's funny.
Well, I was already with a topic that I feel like is super practical for us to discuss, you and I to discuss, and then for anybody listening in on
Mm,
basic bookkeeping and what we look for in the information that comes to us from our clients and what takes our billable time and figuring that stuff out. But like has happened since the time we started doing these Zoom calls and being remote, is another kind of rule came out, and I think it's really more important to talk about this rule. Not
sure.
really rule, but interpretation.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was that executive order that the president signed saying that employees can he signed an order saying, I hereby direct the Secretary of Treasury to allow employees to defer their share of Social Security taxes from their paycheck so that they can get a bigger take home paycheck.
Yes.
I mean, clearly I'm paraphrasing the executive order.
Right.
That was basically it.
Right. Yeah, we knew that it was for I mean we did mention this that it was for wages paid, not necessarily wages accrued from September 1st through December 31st. And then, we've been kind of waiting on guidance as how does this work? What happens if an employee leaves? And frankly, we were frantic a little bit about this. No, and we'd been meeting a couple times every week to go, is there any guidance, knowing that this was supposed to be implemented on Tuesday, and we didn't know how to implement it. We've talked to payroll tax companies and they didn't know how to implement this. And so then over the weekend, they finally came out with some guidance.
Yep. Yep. So the bottom line is, if so the first takeaway is there's no language anywhere that I've seen in the interpretation or in the executive order that says this is a mandatory thing.
Right.
So it seems like the bottom line is, if an employee wants to do this
Yeah.
and an employer is willing to do it to help their employee,
Right.
then it can be done.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing to note, is that I don't think that anybody has to do this.
Yeah.
And and I think what we learned from the guidance is that the employer is significantly at risk as it relates to this. So
Yeah.
if an employer does choose to do this to help the employee, they need to do that with their eyes wide open as to the risks.
Right. Because I
But
think the
but
guidance came out that basically says this has to be repaid by April 30th, I think. And if it's not, penalties will start to accrue on that unpaid balance. And ultimately, it's the employer that is responsible for making those payroll tax payments. So if an employee were to leave and they were unable to collect that past tax deferral, they're on the hook to make that payment to the IRS for that amount.
yeah, yeah. So to recap the overview, an employee can defer their Social Security from September 1st through December 31st.
Right.
And if they do, this guidance says that those deferred taxes then must be repaid through withholdings beginning January 1st of 2021 through April 30th of 2021. So it's a very temporary increase in an employee's paycheck
Yeah.
through deferring of basically deferring a future a liability into the future.
Right.
And like you said, even though the employee has to repay this through withholding on their paycheck, the employer is responsible for administering it. And ultimately, if it goes unpaid, the IRS is going to look to the employer for those taxes and penalties and interest, like you said.
And we've been chatting about this all week. I mean, almost like the employer is put in this impossible position almost. They want to, I'm sure, help their employees for that. And yet going, hey, I don't want to be stuck paying this extra tax too.
Yeah. So I guess before talking about like real practical recommendations about it, the other kind of technical aspects of the guidance. Number one, it's only available to an employee if they make less than $104,000 in a year. So
Yeah.
the order says like $4,000 a paycheck on a biweekly basis, or the equivalent under whatever other pay period it would be. But it basically works out to $104,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then the other technical thing that comes to mind is the guidance specifically says that employer can, I'm not going to remember the exact language, but, collect those unpaid taxes from the employee in whatever other means they need to. So I think that's basically saying, like, let's say an employee defers all their payroll taxes and then quits on December 31st. Certainly, I think under that guidance, an employer could withhold all of that unpaid tax from the employee's last paycheck, for instance.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So from my perspective on the practical implementation of this, I would recommend if an employer wants to do this for an employee, that they need to really make sure that the employee clearly understands that they're going to have to repay this tax.
Right.
I would recommend, I'm not a lawyer, maybe a labor attorney should be consulted. But with that being said, I would have an employee sign something that they affirmatively elect to do this, that they understand that it's going to be repaid from January 1st through April 30th.
Yeah.
And just make sure that there almost needs to be a level of trust with the employee and feeling like the employee really understands the consequences and the fact that it's just a short-term deferral.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, I was kind of doing the numbers. I mean, you're talking about, 6.2%. So, on $20,000 worth of wages, you're talking about, $1,200 or something like that. So, I mean, is it really worth it for the effort that's involved? I don't know.
Yep. Probably not.
Yeah.
It sure grabbed headlines though.
Well, I guess the other thing that we've kind of chatted through is, is there a possibility that this would get forgiven? At which point, would the employer would the employer be kind of held responsible for, hey, you never gave me this opportunity to do this, and now I'm paying extra taxes. But I don't think that I don't think that will happen. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that the IRS guidance specifically said, the tax law is the purview of Congress, and it's constitutionally can't be implemented by executive order. So if there were to be a change in the tax law, not the administration of it, right? I think that's all we're dealing with here is the administration of it. But if there was a change in the tax law, in essence, forgiving that tax, it would require Congress and the president to do it. And I don't give good odds to that happening.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Although hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me that I said that, but yeah.
It's only on video or tape, we've only got it recorded.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good to get that info out there, and hopefully, I mean, this was such murky information for us. It's good to get guidance, and I'm sure there's a lot of employers out there that were wondering what it meant to them. So hopefully this is good information for them.
Yeah, definitely.
We got a long holiday weekend. I'm going to be working.
Yeah, I would say that's exciting, I guess. I'll be here.
Yeah, we got that September 15th deadline, I guess, as a reminder to people. Estimated taxes are due September 15th as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like repeating this. You got that September 15th estimated tax payment due. I recommend paying that online through the IRS web pay and the FTB direct pay. I may have the names reversed there, but
Yeah. Obviously it seems definitely, I mean, we're getting more and more clients that want to do that. And do you know if you can schedule those payments, by the way? I had a client ask me the other day, it was like, hey, can I just put it on, auto pay so that it just I can set it up now and it come out automatically?
yeah, you can't on those services. You can't.
Okay.
It is possible to do it through our tax software.
You can do the quarterly ones?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Let's
Anything
see.
else?
Huh?
Yeah, we were going to talk about the.
I'd say we had our picnic, so that was really fun last Friday. First time that we'd seen some people since March. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and it felt like a reunion, and it was just kind of like, hey, the gang's back together. That was really, really fun. So
it was fun. Played some wiffle ball.
Yeah.
A pie eating contest.
Yes. Paul kicked butt in the pie eating contest. I think we did mention that on the podcast.
I got second. I didn't get first.
Second. Yeah, he had a good strategy, though, of flipping the pie over. And then we realized that there's a reason that John played professional baseball, too.
Even if it's a wiffle ball, you could tell.
As it was screaming past people's heads going, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun. So, yep, very good times.
All right. Well, good deal. We'll have a great long weekend, Steve, and I'm sure I'll probably see you here over the weekend.
Well, I'll be a different person because I'll have run the Boston Marathon,
Oh, is that this week? When is that? Monday?
Monday.
I think that's worth giving you props. So, in case people don't know, Steve qualified for the Boston Marathon. And in case people don't know, that is kind of the ultimate goal for any marathoner. Having done a couple myself, without having qualified for Boston, I am jealous of your feat there. Not your actual feat, but the feat of qualifying for the Boston Marathon.
Oh,
man, what a bummer for you and all the people who qualified that it was canceled this year.
Yeah.
So this is a virtual Boston.
Yeah, virtual lameness is what it is, really. I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but
a run on your own.
I go, yeah, exactly. I just going for a 26 miler on my own, and there's like all these virtual finish line backgrounds, that you can put on, like Instagram filters of you crossing. It's like, I don't know. It's not real. This doesn't count, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. But like I've said to you, the goal, I don't know, everybody has their own personal different goals, so don't judge me. But from my perspective, qualifying is really the of Boston Marathon. Running it is just kind of like running it is the victory lap. It's not the race itself. The race is just qualifying for it in the first place.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. And that was always the intent, was to qualify, to have that little kind of check mark on your running resume. But actually running it would have been gravy, like you said. But I'm not going to take all these finish line photos as if I had run from, what's it, Hopkinton? I probably got that wrong too.
Yeah,
but all the way.
Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but it will be only 104 degrees on Monday. So we're starting at 5:30 in the morning from Queen Mary and ending in Corona del Mar.
Yeah, we definitely send me your location, because like I said, I think I'll be down there running the back bay, and I'll come cheer you on. You'll be the fans of one, number of the huge fans, one of us.
Just bring the bottle of Gatorade or a bottle of Gatorade.
Yeah.
No. Cool.
All right. Well, have a great Labor Day weekend.
All right, you too.